I never thought I would be the kind of woman who'd cheat on her husband. Yet, here I am sitting on my best friend Amber's couch, drenched in sweat from the July heat, with a life that feels like it's just shattered around me. And it all started with a lie so small, so insignificant, but it grew until it destroyed everything I had. My name's Malene. I'm 28 years old, and 6 months ago, I had what seemed like a decent life. I had a husband, Robbie, a decent job as an administrative assistant, and a small apartment. We were scraping by, sure, but we were doing okay, right? Or so I thought. I look back now sitting here on this uncomfortable couch, feeling the weight of my decisions, and I can't believe how wrong I was. But back then it felt like something was missing, something bigger. Like I was meant for more than this life. Robbie and I had been together for 6 years and married for 3. He worked as a truck dispatcher, and I worked at a real estate office. We didn't have a lot of money, but we had enough to get by. We had our old Honda Civic that we shared in our 1-bedroom apartment. Robbie was always telling me that we were making it work, and I wanted to believe him. I tried to. But deep down, I felt this constant uneasy of feeling like I was just existing, not really living. I couldn't shake the thought that there had to be more out there for me. You see, every time I scrolled through Instagram, I saw people traveling the world, buying beautiful homes, wearing designer clothes, and living lives that seemed so effortless. Meanwhile, I was sitting at my desk, answering phones, managing paperwork, and watching as people who made far more money than I did walked past me. They seemed so polished, so happy. So much more than I was. I started resenting Robbie for being content with the life we had. He was always tired from his long hours at work, but he was happy with what we had, and I was starting to think that wasn't enough. But then Vincent walked into my life, and everything changed. Vincent wasn't like anyone I'd ever met before. He wasn't a regular at our office, but he came in as a commercial developer, a man with connections and money. The first time I saw him, I couldn't help but notice how sharp he looked, wearing a suit that probably cost more than our entire apartment. I never thought much about people like him before, but when he walked in, I felt something shift inside me. And, to my surprise, he noticed me too. It started with small talk meetings, casual chats at my desk, things that felt harmless at first. But Vincent didn't just talk about business, he remembered little things I said. He brought me coffee the way I liked it, asked about my day, and made me feel seen. It felt like a breath of fresh air, a feeling I hadn't experienced in ages. Robbie didn't even look at me the way Vincent did. Robbie was too exhausted from his 50-hour work weeks to notice me anymore. He didn't see the new haircut I had, or the fact that I was trying so hard to keep our life together. Vincent's attention made me feel special, important. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I mattered. The texting started small, just work-related stuff at first. But soon, the messages turned into jokes, then compliments. He'd send me photos of his beach house and tell me how beautiful I would look there. I knew I should stop, but the attention felt too good. It filled a void in me that I hadn't realized was so deep, and with every text, I felt a little more connected to him and a little more distant from Robbie. And that's when I lied. I told Robbie I was going out with the girls from work. It was supposed to be a harmless girls' night, just a drink, just networking. But when Vincent showed up in his Tesla, when he took me to a fancy restaurant with no prices on the menu, I knew this wasn't just about business anymore. I was lying to myself and I was lying to Robbie. I went home that night and spun some story about Karen getting drunk and Melissa's boyfriend drama. Robbie barely looked up from his video game. He asked if I had fun and went back to playing. And it was easy. So easy. Because it seemed like he didn't care. He was so distracted, so complacent, that it made it easier to slip further into this other life with Vincent. The lies got bigger. The excuses piled up. I started staying out later, going out more frequently. Vincent and I would have these beautiful dinners where he'd pay for everything, buy me clothes, give me presents. I told myself it wasn't about the money, it was about how special he made me feel. About how much more I could have if I just took a step toward this life of luxury, excitement, and success. Everything Robbie couldn't give me. But then, it all started to unravel. I started comparing everything. Our cramped apartment versus Vincent's downtown condo with floor-to-ceiling windows. Robbie's tired sighs and small plans for the future versus Vincent's ambitious dreams and promises of success. And that night, as I sat at our kitchen table watching Robbie eat the dinner I had prepared, I realized something: I didn't love him anymore. Maybe I hadn't for a while. And when he reached for me in bed that night, I made up an excuse about having a headache. The truth was, I couldn't stop thinking about Vincent. I had already started planning my escape, my exit plan. I thought it would be easy: tell Robbie it wasn't working, leave him, and start a new life with Vincent. The next morning, I went through the motions like everything was fine. But in the back of my mind, I knew it wouldn't be that simple. The first time I actually slept with Vincent was at his downtown rooftop bar, where we had champagne that cost more than our weekly groceries. I came home that night, lied to Robbie about a work event, and felt guilty as I climbed into bed beside him. But the guilt was easy to push down beneath the thrill of what I was doing. I didn't realize just how far I had gone until I started getting sloppy. I stopped being as careful with my lies. I started meeting Vincent closer to our apartment, leaving evidence behind: receipts in my pockets, clothes I couldn't explain, new perfume. I was practically begging to get caught. And then, it happened. One night, as I walked out the door to meet Vincent, I glanced up and saw it. The red light of our doorbell camera. Robbie had installed it last year for security. The one that sends notifications to his phone when someone comes to the door. It had just captured me, kissing Vincent right outside our building, and I really is too late that there was no turning back now. But I got into Vincent's car anyway. What else could I do? I was already caught. Dinner with Vincent was a blur. I kept checking my phone, waiting for Robbie's angry texts, but none came. The silence was worse than any rage. I knew that when I got home, everything would be different. When Vincent dropped me off that night, he kissed me and promised that tomorrow I'd be free, but I had no idea just how wrong I was. When I walked into our apartment, there was Robbie sitting calmly at the table, laptop open in front of him. He didn't even need to ask. The video of me and Vincentov, the kiss, the car was right there on the screen. And beside the laptop, his phone displayed our last text exchange, where I'd told him I was with the girls. He asked me, in the most calm, businesslike tone, "And you were going to leave me for him?" I couldn't lie anymore. What was the point? I said yes, and Robbie just nodded. He closed his laptop and told me to get some sleep. We'd talk in the morning. I went to bed alone that night, still numb, still in shock. Little did I know, Robbie had already begun executing his plan, and when I woke up the next morning, everything had changed. Robbie was gone. So was his laptop, his clothes, his money from our joint account. And on the kitchen counter, there was a Nodia-printed screenshot of the doorbell camera footage with a single line written beneath it. I deserved better. So did you. I tried to call Vincent. I thought he'd want me now. But instead, he told me that things were moving too fast, that he had business in Seattle, and I should stay with a friend for a while. He didn't want me. Not like this. I had nothing left. No husband. No lover, no apartment, just a string of lies and a shattered life. And now I'm here on Amber's couch, wondering how I managed to lose everything that truly mattered. If I could go back, I'd tell myself to be careful for what I wish for. I wanted excitement. I wanted luxury. I wanted to feel special and desired. Now I'm alone, homeless, and the only thing special about me is how spectacularly I destroyed my life. The worst part? Deep down, I still don't think I was wrong to want more. I just chose the wrong way to get it, the wrong person to believe in. And maybe that's why, even now, I can't fully accept that all of this, the life I had with Robbie, the life I threw away, was the better option all along.